Fire it up, footballers. We're here with the Chicago Fire FC versus Houston Dynamo post-game. Talking about that Houston Dynamo 2, Chicago Fire FC 1, loss for the Chicago Fire. Certainly the men in red have to be disappointed with the result from that, and possibly the effort. We'll get into it here on this live stream. Thank you for joining us here live on Enemies of the Fire. Make sure you guys rip that like button, kick it, punt it off into the distance, maybe into the middle of the lake, because man, oh man, we got some things to discuss with what happened tonight in Houston at the just outside the Alamo. And got to say thank you for joining us. And let me do a couple live things and make sure you guys can see things. So, and here we are, back into a familiar position, an opening season loss for the Chicago Fire. And to me, this one was a bit of a surprising one. I did not see it coming. I thought that they were going to come out the gates running hot with the second hottest offense in the MLS from last season. Did not seem to be the case. Let me know about the volume in here. If volume is off, let me know. Because I am just doing this live. Let's click over here, and I want to have this out. How do I pop out that? Cool. Boom. Now I can see the chat nice. And Nando Ruiz saying, what the heck was that second half? And gotta say, that was the major issue for the Chicago Fire, was that second half, because the first half was stupendous. Prediction markets going wild, Sports King regretting everything that they had done, and just everybody hitting panic mode. And then the second half happened and occurred in Houston. Very disappointing result for the Chicago Fire. You got to believe that they are upset, because that second goal, lazy, and it bit him in the ass. And that was the second goal. But once again, let's save that for a little bit later, that heat. Thank you. So Chicago Fire enter this game with seemingly a lot of talent. They have James Bond in back of the net. It's not James Bond, but Hugo Kuipers. What a game. I thought it was a great game from Hugo Kuipers, but at the same time, what offense was generated? They had so much possession, and yet so little. They had it says 56% here, right? 56% here for the first half for the Chicago Fire, and it was 70% for that first half. And they had one goal to show for it, which was seemingly okay, but that goal came off of a defensive mistake from Houston Dynamo. It was not the sum result of offense, it was a sum result of the press. And that is how Hugo Kuipers scored that amazing, great 31st minute goal, where he threatened to go inside, took it outside, pots it with his outside foot, with his left foot, right-footed Hugo Kuipers, pulls out the left foot to sink it for the Fire's first goal of the season. Fire ahead, 31st minute. And before that, the entire 31 minutes before that, they were just playing all the way in Houston zone. And you saw the win developing. It was looking good for the Fire. And then the second half happened. Things, they couldn't cinch a second goal in that first half. They only mustered 6 shots the entire half, unfortunately. So that's a little disappointing for the amount of possession that they had. But here's the thing. They had possession. They had dominance. They displayed, if you want to take away the positives of this match, and there's a lot of positives. There are a lot of positives. When it came into this match, I was thinking we were dealing with a first, second, third, fourth, fifth place team. I think a first or second place team wins their opening match, no matter where they go. So we could rule out the first place. We could rule out second place. Third place still on the table. Fourth place, fifth place still on the table for this team. Don't count them out from this loss, because I guarantee you they will come back. They will come back and be improved. And that's based upon the performance we saw in that first half. We saw the majority possession. We saw the Fire dominant. We saw the Fire trying things and getting invasive in Houston's backyard, to the point where Bond had to make some few key saves on Selassie, right there in the beginning. Selassie could have almost potted one. And instead of driving something, just absolutely blasting it, he puts it on target nice and hard. It was a quality effort from Selassie. Got to give him all sorts of credit on that, because he got it on net, made them have to have a goalkeeper. Right? And that's sometimes all you can ask for from one of those early developments. The first minutes of the season, Selassie. So good effort there. And then we get to the goal. Hugo Kuipers. Excellent. Just doesn't quit. Bad back pass from Houston. And all of a sudden, boom. Hugo Kuipers is in on a one-on-one with the one last defender of Houston. And they force him to the outside to his left foot. Hugo says, don't worry. Pulls it right out of his golf bag. He's got his scoring boots today, and it's his left foot. Pots it right over Bond. Beautiful first goal. Awesome. Awesome results of the press. The possession was doing its thing there. That's possession doing its thing when the press works out there too, right? And so that was looking very good for the Chicago Fire. Really liked what I saw. And then the second half happened. Second half started okay. And then about the 70th minute, it was all coming undone. 67th minute, Guillaume gets in on a breakaway. Just unluckily, the Fire were still doing stuff before then, but Guillaume gets onto a break and just has one man to beat. It's Rogers. Rogers pulls his quad or something, or it's first game of the season. He's ran 67 minutes, and all of them putting in a lot of work as far as like a full 90 and a full bit MLS game, not just preseason match. And he boom, he sneaks one past Brady, and the Houston Dynamo tie the game. At that point, the Fire were still very much in it, but all of a sudden, it's like before that and around there, you saw a little bit before the goal, you saw the laziness creeping in, just a little bit. Goal happens, and then I would say within the Fire respond a little bit, but then I would say 5 minutes or so, I see this laziness start to creep in on the Fire players, unfortunately. And they start, not making the extra run. They start not moving to where they need to be position-wise for the playing out of the back to work, because all of a sudden, Bogusz, Guilherme, Ponce, they're bearing down on the Fire in this three-man back line that they were running with Mobakazi, Waterman, and Rogers, who I thought it was a great performance for a lot of these guys in their first match. Got to say, it wasn't poor at all. It's just because the first half happened. You can't discount that first half where Zinkernagel absolutely doing things. Salatros, captain, the number 6, stunningly named captain, comes in and is pulling strings. Davila, in his first half, I had a couple questions, but second half, I was okay with Davila. Davila was looking really settled in, doing what he had to do, taking control, especially towards the end of the game. He was really putting in some work, Davila. Liked what I saw from Davila. Load with a great first 70 minutes or so before he got subbed off for Chris Mueller. It was really, really quite good from that midline in that first half. Hugo Kuipers, outstanding performance. Haile Selassie putting in work. Mobakazi, good debut. Waterman, kind of, the steady man on that backside. Got a yellow card early. Put the Fire in jeopardy, I think, a little bit in that 25th minute or 26th minute yellow card. But at the same time, the ref. All right, we'll talk about that a little later. Rogers did as best he could. Barroso. I could circle Barroso as a bit of a question mark tonight because I saw a little bit of the weakness in the game. As far as Davila settled into the game, as far as Salatros and Zinkernagel were taking advantage early, Kuipers especially, Barroso didn't really settle into the game so well, struggled in bits, did some things offensively, definitely did some things, but then there were those mistakes. Nando saying barely saw anything from Lode and Barroso. Barroso to me was every time the ball was touching his foot, it was bouncing off, bouncing away. His touch was not there tonight for Barroso. Ooh, we got DPG joining. What's up, brother?
Not much, man. Just here feeling the after effects of the game.
I was about to talk about the second goal where I feel like the Fire got a little lazy. And they were, and all of a sudden I saw them not making the runs. Barroso not making the moves. He just did a lot of running. I saw, it seemed like they were getting tired and it was getting to them. It's a real MLS game. And then boom, the second goal happens on just some lazy passes out of the back and very good press from the Houston Dynamo. Bogusz was everywhere tonight.
Yeah, and I think a lot of it too has to do with the fact that back line, especially in that second half, didn't really click together. The one thing, as you mentioned, Barroso, so the vibe I got from Barroso is that he doesn't defend very well. He tries to jump into the attack too often, and he gets burned.
Mm-hmm.
And he couldn't handle the ball. He couldn't manage the ball. Like he seemed like he was trying to do too much. And unfortunately, it burned us, And then you talk about the second goal. I mean, all you saw was four guys standing around while Houston was like passing the ball around. All it took was a shot, blocked by Grady, and then someone to be there for the rebound, which that's how the second goal came about. And the first goal, don't even get me started on that. The first goal was these guys were ball watching. They were so high up in the line that it was only a matter of time before someone got beat in pace, which in this case happened to be Sam Rogers, Guillermo, whatever the guy's name. He outran Sam Rogers.
I mean, blew his quad out.
He blew his quad out. Like, why are you playing so high up on the line? You know that Houston got speedsters, and and we got burned. Had we kind of kept them mid line, we probably would have had a better chance of like preventing that goal from happening. But the line was so high up there, we got burned, and you know what? Kind of, man. I know injuries suck, but you kind of wonder if things would have been different if a guy like Jack Elliott was back there.
Mm-hmm.
You think you would think if things would be different if Bamba was good to go.
I imagine Rogers would have been the man sitting in that case. Probably Waterman starting to the right.
Gutman starting. I mean that
instead of Haile Selassie.
Yeah, so you would have had a different dynamic to the team and how they played. Not saying that the first half was good. I just, I felt that the Fire should have gotten a second goal in the first half with all the chances they were having. But again, second half, they took it easy and they got burned for it. They got lazy, they got burned for it.
Nando's asking, why is Waterman pressing so far high up when it wasn't even needed? He left the biggest gap known to mankind.
You know what? All these guys, I don't know what's going on with the back line, but it almost seemed like they were all trying to play hero ball. Everybody's trying to get that pass from the back to the front, and it didn't work out. And then it got worse when you had Cups come in. Cups couldn't get a pass farther than 5 yards. Like, the guy kept passing it back and forth. And I get it. He's still young, and I don't blame him, too. He doesn't want to make a bad pass that is going to cost another goal. But the kid's got to take the safety off and just go for it. You never know.
How about Orahel coming in on pretty much only a couple minutes and I feel like he settled in real quick, Orahel.
Yeah, he should have been. He should have come in a little sooner than that. I think if he would have come in the 75th or something like that, you add a little extra spark to the you add a spark to the attack. Because by then Kuipers was done. Zinkernagel became pretty much a pedestrian. Lod was that whatever brilliance he had in the first half, he was pedestrian in the second half. Like his tank was empty.
Nando was saying that he barely saw anything from Lud and Barroso.
Yeah, the thing about Barroso was that he was trying so hard to get into the attack that he left that right side wide open. And that's where Houston took advantage of it. And the thing about Barroso is that he's pulling off the same crap he did last year, where he was trying to do too much on the attack. Yes, there's certain teams you can do this on, but you don't want to try it on a team that's on the kind of on the up and up on their home opener. And honestly, there's a time and place when the defense goes into the attack, and it wasn't today. The midfield should have carried this whole attack the whole entire time, not the defense. So I don't agree with the fact that Barroso kept going into the attack.
And his touch was so off all night.
His first touch was garbage.
It was
like
bad.
I don't know what. Like he let a lot of balls go, for throw-ins. Like I don't know what was wrong with him. Like that's what I'm saying. Like his touches were off. Even his passing was a little bit off.
If I could give him one, at least one plaudit, I got to say his shot on net, that was pretty. It seemed like it was a great shot. And then it deflected. Yes. I loved his shot on net, and I was hoping that it could even deflect it because it was really well struck. I mean, very low to the ground, but it was powerful. It was quick, and then it bounced off a player. And even still, with the ricochet, was so fast. I did like his one shot of the night.
Yeah, I mean that he had that one good shot, but I think a lot of it too is that he has to remember that he's a defender. He's not in a defensive midfielder. He's not an attacking player. Yes, the defense can be part of the attack, but not in a game like this, especially when Houston was burning you on the wings. You had Bogusz burning one guy. You had the Guillermo burning Barroso. It just you don't delve into attack, and I don't know if Greg was the mastermind of moving the line so far up ahead that these guys were practically past the midfield line, all of them when that first goal came. So I don't know. Like I know it's the first game, and I know we're dealing with injuries, but it's not a good look. It's too much laziness in the defense. Maybe it's the fact that we didn't have Jack Elliott. Maybe Jack Elliott puts these guys in, at attention. But I don't know. I just, the Fire should have kept that tempo from the first half into the second half. Like they should have kept at it.
I'm sorry, DPG, go on.
No, go ahead. Man.
I'm saying also about the subs, Donando saying, Dean, where was Dean? You should swap out Barroso, bring in Dean.
Yeah, I mean, Dean actually adds more stability on that right side. That's
totally
the thing.
Agree, Nando. Totally agree.
Yeah, I agree with you on that. It's like Dean adds stability. Like if you want to, Barroso will be a nice compliment to bring in in a second half when you need a spark. But I don't think Barroso is the guy that you want to keep putting in, day in, day out. Because as we saw, he was doing too much. At the same time, he wasn't doing enough.
Let me slow a tiny bit of your roll there because that might end up being true, what you're saying. But remember Davila's first game. Remember and how he's really Davila's. I have a lot of trust in Davila. Today he was taking control in many parts of the game. And Salatro's taking control in many parts of the game. I was loving this midfield. We got a tall guy. We got a skill guy. There's something really here and able to be dominant with this Fire team in the midfield, and it starts there. And then, not to mention what Chicago Fire tweet out right now with the image of Hugo Kuipers, possibly one of the best players on the pitch tonight. Kuipers, he had the one miss early, but he was trying things. He's getting settled, and he still buried it when it really counted. Really, really liked what I saw from Hugo Kuipers tonight as far as being the striker for Chicago Fire.
Yep. He took advantage of his opportunity, and he scored. And I think there needs to be a little more magic in that final third.
There was none today. That DPG, that was the issue, wasn't it?
Yeah,
was it not? Because
that was.
Think about what offense truly generated a goal tonight. None. There was no offensive generated goal. The goal that was generated was pure defensively. It was part of the press. The miss pass by Houston slips into the back. Hugo, boom, there, 31st minute.
Yep.
And then also deftly knows what to do. He took on that MLS defender and took him to the outside, puts his left scoring boot on, even though he's a right-footed scorer. The defender, gotta say, he did everything he was supposed to, right? He's like, force this guy out to the left side, to his off foot. And the goalkeeper's gonna have to take care of him there. But the problem is, he was on the firing. Bond was on the firing end of Hugo Kuipers, and the way he buried that ball, boom, about a foot and a half above Bond. Almost dead center, buried it with so much confidence. Loved what I saw from Hugo. Too. With his weak foot, buried it.
Yep. And I think that's kind of been what was going on with this team today, is that on that final third, the buildup was great. The buildup was great up until they got to the box. And when they got to the box, they were out of ideas. Like, they were trying to cross it.
Yes, that was the issue. I agree.
They were trying to cross it. Houston did a good job getting it out. Like, there wasn't enough guys to make a little bit of space and take a shot.
I got to say, beyond that, Zinkernagel did create some of those moments. I saw quite a bit from Zinkernagel early where he created these little moments and pockets. He was absolutely one of the best players on the pitch tonight besides Hugo Kuipers, at least for that first half. And the other thing is, the thing about Zink and Hugo, they are damn good defenders. They put in the fucking work. Zink was running himself silly, having to cover for various things and take care of that. And also, I got to say, Nando saying that one of the major issues for the Fire was that Kuipers had no service in that second. He had service once or twice in that first half, but I agree, Nando, no service in that second half for Kuipers. But I think that goes in line with the possession went down, cratered, because the Fire were getting lazy, and you could see it. And Kuipers was working his ass off, Zink working his ass off. I gotta say, really commendable job from the Chicago Fire midfield. Salatros, first game as captain, like kind of a stunning revelation that we talked about earlier before the game, wasn't it?
Yeah, I mean, I think a lot of it too has to do with the fact that, as you said, the Fire got lazy. They should have kind of choked out Houston. They should have kept the pressure up, and they decided to take it easy. I don't know if this was a tactical mistake by Greg, because Houston came out a different team.
Mm-hmm.
I would like to think that Greg has foresight to know that, hey, Houston's probably going to come out more attacking. We need to take advantage of that. Not, hey, let's just kind of, slow the pace down. That's the worst thing you could do with a team that wants to attack, is slow the pace down.
So one of the comments from the announcers was that the Fire were playing a little bit of a different game that second half, where they took the foot off the gas. They weren't so offensively attacking, and they looked a little lost. When Fire attacked, and DPG, how many times have you commented on this last year? I gotta say, I could count on multiple. If I had multiple hands, I'd have to be some sort of deity. But the amount of it's that they lose it. It's that they lose it. It's like they're offensively minded, and they have this great attack going, and they're creating stuff, and then this is what leads to their losses, at least because they're a winning team overall.
Yep.
But this is it's just all of a sudden it's that momentary lapse times 3. It kind of multiplies because early on in the game there were mistakes. There was a lucky play where I think it was Rogers or Davila, one of them. I think it was Davila passed right to one of the Houston offense players on that left wing, and they almost potted a goal. Great play by Brady. Brady was everywhere he needed to be tonight. Unfortunately, he wasn't where he needed to be to get the win. Brady played an excellent game tonight. 21 years old, got to remind you. And honestly, looks like he's 28 and he's a dominant MLS goalkeeper. Like, that is Chris Brady. He's playing above his years. The Fire have a stud in net. This game, Chris Brady needs to work on. If Chris Brady needs to work on anything, it's his passing and his distribution, and that's every goalkeeper. What are you going to do? That's every goalkeeper.
I think he needs to work on his shot blocking ability at close range, because I feel that had he positioned himself a little bit better,
DPG, that first save was huge. The first save.
I know.
He came up with the first save. It's on the defense to clear those rebounds. All the goalie can do is throw out that first save. That's his best chance, and he was there for it. You're right. You're right that he could have came through with, maybe he comes lower with his body and tries to shut down the bottom of the net with the second save there in that goal. That's the one critique there that Brady will be no doubt thinking about himself tonight. He'll be like, how could I have done this differently?
Most goals like at that point with the rebound shot. If you look at that second goal with the rebound shot, there wasn't a lot of space to actually get a good clear shot. Like the odds at that point, the guy only had maybe a yard and a half to kind of shoot. And at that range, with a goalkeeper in front of you that's diving and, making himself bigger, the odds are against that you're going to score the goal. And I think the ball went underneath Chris Brady. Like, I think had Chris Brady kind of motioned a little bit differently, maybe, dived or even like kind of kept himself a little low.
Well, Chris Brady did literally, I think what he did, I'll speak as a goalkeeper, he is doing his maximum to put his body in the biggest place to prevent a goal. And what he did with his body in that goal, unfortunately, was perfect. It was textbook. Honestly, Chris Brady was textbook. The one issue is if he wasn't textbook, if he was a little off kilter, he comes in and plays like a goalkeeper in hockey and just is like with his two pads and just comes in, but it's his chest. Chris Brady, broad-chested, great goalkeeper. Dude, the dude is one of the best goalkeepers in MLS. Yeah. The first save on that goal, amazing. Waterman on a yellow card. Mobakazi playing the left side. Loved what I saw about Mobakazi because did he not save a goal? No. It was called offside. It was called offside. But the effort on display from Mobakazi, and I knew he took a little head noggin there because that shot was like was a blast. So hopefully he gets take it easy this week, Mobakazi with the brain. Maybe give him a day off or two.
Mobakazi was probably the better, or not the best player on that back line today.
So impressive, dude. So impressive what we saw from Mobakazi.
But I think, going forward, hey, you kind of want Gutman to come back. On that left side.
On the left side. So Mobakazi could pass it to Gutman because he's not playing Mobakazi's position. Mobakazi is a lockdown starter. Give him a few days off, honestly, for that headshot because dude took a fucking 18-yarder blast off the noggin. And honestly, I was worried about him playing the rest of the game. But also, I've been in that position, and I know that like the crazy thing about sometimes those things is like the rest of the game, all of a sudden you lock in at a different level, and you're just flowing with the game. So he was fine.
He was fine.
It was evident because Mobakazi was fantastic, was good the rest of the game. But still, like I said, give him a few days off for the head knock there. Haile Selassie early on, impressive. What do you think about Haile Selassie?
He was good in that first half, like most of the Fire team was.
Right.
But again, he kind of turned off those engines in the second half. Like he kind of became more laid back, more tame. Like, and that's worst thing you can do. Worst thing you can do, because I've said it before. The best defense is a better attack.
If,
If you drown out a team with constant attacks, they're not going to have a chance to defend. I mean, they're not going to have a chance to attack themselves because they'll be too busy defending.
DPG, I got to say this, though, about our defense. Mubakazi, Waterman, and Rogers all looked like veterans back there. They were providing solid play most of the game. Honestly, you wouldn't even believe that they were missing their Captain Elliott tonight, because that's why Salatros maybe got the captain's band. But they weren't missed. It really looked like they had a steady back line tonight. And the thing is, you're still going to get those yips in the early season. It's early season.
Yeah.
It's going to happen.
Yeah, of course.
Waterman got that 25th minute yellow card. I got to say, he played like he wasn't worried about it the rest of the game. Played well within his bounds, was quite... besides Mubakazi, I think Waterman was the second best defender back there. It's Mubakazi and Waterman really holding it down, then Rogers. Barroso was kind of needs to step up, needs time. If his touch comes, that's when he becomes... Because the thing about Barroso was he was positionally, he was great. He was making the runs back. He was putting in the work. We got to say the positives about Barroso.
He was putting in the work. He was making those runs.
And also tracking back. So often saw him tracking back at high speed. High speed for a person who just ran his fucking guts out on that right wing. Yeah. I liked what I saw from Barroso physically. The issue was, as you said, that first touch failed him so often tonight, and that was his undoing.
Yep, and I think too is like the same speed that he likes to take off on the offense, he needs to bring that back to the defense. He needs to close down the Houston attackers, and that was his issue too. He was having a hard time defending against these Houston attackers.
Guilherme especially, that's who he was facing.
Yeah, and it's like that's your whole job. You know, you're probably the fastest guy on the back line.
Absolutely, he was. He was.
You need to lock down those fast attackers. Like that's your job. Mm-hmm. You know, make them feel uncomfortable. Take the ball away from them. Shoulder to shoulder them out of the game. And that's the thing is just I didn't see a lot of that. I see more or less just him kind of just watching the guy make magic happen. Instead of like
Barroso, unfortunately, I gotta say, he was that person tonight. He was to me, liked what I saw from most of the team. Barroso was a bit of the weak link most of the game tonight, and even early in the game. Like there were chances early in the game that were kind of undone by Barroso's touch tonight. And maybe they would have done a little bit more with the offense had he connected there. But here's the thing. You can't pin it on Barroso for that because it was the entire offense that was a letdown tonight. Yep. The entire offense was the letdown for the Fire tonight. The defense was there. They held them to what? They were holding them to 0 goals until the 67th minute, and the offense had scored 0 goals at that point. The defense had scored 1 goal. Even though it's the striker scoring the goal, it was on defense that the goal was scored. Hugo Kuipers scores as a striker, a great goal. And honestly, loved what I saw from Hugo Kuipers. But that's the issue for the Fire tonight. They did not look like the second best scoring team in the MLS from last year for scoring chances. However, possession-wise, they were dominant. They were dominant early, and then something fell apart that second half.
Yep, it's almost it almost feels like Greg kind of told them, "Hey, let's just sit back. This Houston team is not going to do anything."
Do you really think that's what happened? That Greg said sit back?
I honestly think that Greg probably told them, "Hey, we need to slow down the pace." Because in the second, if you saw the first half, towards the end, Houston kind of was beginning to kind of pick up the pace, try to get themselves involved in the attack.
I'm finding it hard Greg was a hard read tonight. For me, Greg was a hard read tonight because I saw the Ben Olsen for Houston being so animated often, but also his team was under duress for the first half of the game. And really, it wasn't really so focused on Greg. It was like you saw You saw Ben Olsen just like, oh, screaming. I saw Greg early on call the ref over.
Hey, Dave, I'll be right back.
Oh, take your time. I saw Greg early on call the ref over, and I was like, and it was after another egregious call by the referee. The referee, I felt, was more than one-sided tonight. The calls early, middle, and the end were always going towards Houston's way, and there were some questionable misses for me and some questionable. He was giving so much to Houston, gave them so much, and gave the Fire so little. It was not even at all, the call. And then he puts on a little show like he's trying to be even. Honestly, it puts on a show trying to be even, but no, it was so offset. It was ridiculous. The referee was awful tonight. And did that play a factor in the match? Yes, it did. It absolutely did. It affected the match. There were so many fucking calls. You could count 20 calls at least that the Fire were screwed by the ref, that a normal ref 50-50, they're getting all of those 20 calls because it was so offset. It was so offset. It was like gigantic, the disparity of calls between the Houston Dynamo and the Fire tonight. The referee been watching The Last Things He Told Me on Apple TV. That's an MLS shout out though. Been watching that with the missus and enjoying that. That's crazy. And it felt, I was like, are these referees dealing with the same thing? Watch the show, you'll see the implications. And it was crazy. Just the call disparity was gigantic and ginormous. Did not appreciate it. And the Fire paid the price for that because there were so many calls that could have early on, if in a 50-50 game, 20 calls. Honestly, the disparity was huge. So they would have been able to create a few more things. They were not getting the calls tonight. Houston absolutely was. And it was on full display all the game. Really did not what I saw from the referee. You got to be more even keel there if you want to avoid the implications, because this one was so questionable in that department. The referee was like, there's usually 10 to 20, right? Somewhere in that where it's like, get it even. It was like 50 to 10. 50 to 10. Watch that last game and tell me that the calls were even remotely even. I saw the same thing happen on the Houston side that was called for a foul, not called for a foul on the Fire side. At least 9 times. 9. Just that type of angle. It was obnoxious what I saw from the referee tonight. Not pinning the Fire loss on them. The Fire really got a little lazy at that second half, and that's what bit them in the ass overall. However, the referee's going against you all game, plus this Houston side that did not quit, did not give up, did not say, you know what, we're all right, we're gonna pack it up here against the first or second place team. We're gonna go and try and win the next game because these guys are obviously potential league winners. Did not say that against the Chicago Fire. They beat them. They beat them tonight. They beat the Chicago Fire tonight. Chicago Fire not looking like league winners, not looking like first or second place teams in the Eastern Conference. The Fire looking like a 3rd to 9th place team here. And that's where we're all questioning because dominance was on display. We saw a good Fire team. We didn't see him finish the job when it counted. And guess what? It counts. It's first game of the season. Could have started with 3 points. If you didn't get lazy in that 65th minute, if you just didn't get lazy, you would have had the win tonight because the second goal would have came. You would have broken them. You would have broken Houston had you played to the 75th minute with so much aplomb, with so much domination, with so much possession where They're just feeling demoralized. They know the inevitable's coming. They knew it. They knew the inevitable was coming that first half. And then you didn't pour it in. You didn't put the foot down on the neck and just American History X Houston all over the curb, and just it didn't happen tonight. Houston put up a venerable effort, great effort from Houston. Didn't quit, played hard all game, played hard all game. Fire played hard 75 minutes of the game, because the last 10 to 15 minutes from the Fire, they were trying. They were mustering everything they could. I think that Greg was a little late. Just if I could offer any critique to Greg, because I guarantee you Greg knows better than me and maybe quite a few people out there. I think Greg's one of the best MLS coaches in the MLS. I think that he was just a little late on his subs. That was on display with Orahel. Orahel dropped in, boom. Absolutely just like found his footing, started playing that way, finding the passes, taking the time he needed, wasn't spooked. Orahel playing like a veteran. Really liked what I saw from him, just getting dropped in there. Mueller coming in there, playing some good football, got hot, got that yellow card, but playing hot. Liked what I saw from Mueller. Dithajane, I think he had a few plays. He had a few plays where he saved some things. Dithajane, not bad getting dropped in there as well. Cups, what problems did you have with Cups? What problems? This team overall looking good. I have a lot of confidence in this team overall. I do. Mueller, Dithajane, Orahel, Cups coming in to serve as subs. Meanwhile, you're missing a couple of your starters, right? No Elliott. Another key person missing. What's his face? I can't remember. Put it in the comments. There's another key starter missing besides him. It's escaping me right now as I'm doing this live. But the Fire put on... They got the result that was deserved. Unfortunately, I can't say that the better team won. The team that didn't quit won tonight. The team that couldn't be lazy tonight won. That's who won tonight. The team that couldn't be lazy. Fire got a little lazy. They're away. First game. Felt good, feeling themselves after that first goal. Didn't pot the second. Still quite a good showing, I thought, from the Fire. Unable to finish the job. Maybe 5-6 more minutes of working hard. And boom, Houston's like, all right, it's 1-0, 2-0 at that point, because you didn't quit. Because you didn't quit. Because you got lazy. Because you didn't get lazy. And Houston also wasn't getting lazy. And I really thought the Fire had the ability to finish the job tonight. They really did. Loved what I saw from all the players. Loved what I saw from the coach. I think that the one issue, bringing on a couple more subs early, that could have helped this game. But that's hindsight. It is. And it got to be fair to Greg. Greg coached a heck of a game. Was he outcoached by Ben Olsen tonight? I'm not so sure. Like I said, I really feel like the referee influenced this game tonight. And in an even tilt match, Greg gets this win. Greg gets the win. It works out that way. The math works out that way. The math didn't work out that way because there was an influence on this game, allegedly, is what I got to say. Allegedly, that I think tipped the scales. It did tip the scales because this was an even battle. This was a real even battle. I was stunned about the betting lines because looking at last year Houston finish, looking at Fire finish, looking at the way these teams finished and the talent added to both teams. Yes, Houston added a lot of good talent. They got Bogusz, who's a Polish international hopeful. Houston added some talent, but there's still a new team developing. Fire, second-year team developing with a lot of mainstays there. Kuipers, Zinkernagel, Davila, Barroso. He's a holdover. Waterman, Haile Selassie, Brady, a lot of holdovers from last year that had the ability. And they got a little, they slept a little, and that's what kicked them. Renando saying Philly and Miami lost. All right, guys. Think about what I'm saying about that first or second team. Maybe it's not right. Maybe I'm incorrect. Maybe I'm wrong. Happy to be wrong about the Fire losing the first game of the season, becoming literally the MLS Cup champions. Happy to be wrong. But Nando saying that Philly and Miami lost. 2 Cup favorites. That's huge, Nando. We're still okay, says Nando. Today was a blooper. I expect a battering of Montreal at home. I think that is in the cards for the Chicago Fire. Absolutely. They have the ability. We need to see the offensive put it together. We need to see them make a few more moves. We need to see them manage to score an offensive goal that isn't caused by the defense. We need them to score on the buildup. We need them to score on the corner. We need them to score on the set piece. That's going to happen. We saw it in preseason. I know it's going to happen today. Not necessarily a fluke. Not necessarily a fluke. It's not a fluke. Both teams tired. Both teams were so tired that 38th minute, both teams were gassed. 38th minute. Fire and Houston. You saw it. Look at it. Go watch that minute. 38th, 30, somewhere right around there. Both teams were gassed. And you could see it. And then second half happened. And the more gassed team, which I thought would be Houston tonight, lost the game. The Fire just got a little lazy and they missed on a few things. Had they scored one more goal, had the offense scored a goal, different game. Had it been 2-0 going into that second half, different game. Different game. Energy-wise for both teams. It just reinvigorates your legs in a different way. You know it. You know it watching who's played before. So, got to say props to the Fire tonight. Good first half effort. Just missed a few things in the second half. Good stuff, Greg. A lot of stuff to work on to become an MLS champion. A lot of stuff to work on to become an MLS Cup champion. But I got to say, I believe in you. I believe in this Chicago Fire unit. I believe in this coach. I believe in these players. I believe in what I saw tonight. I saw a starting 11 that were producing, that were making things happen, that were doing things. I was pleased because I've seen years and years of Fire teams that seem competitive. I don't think that's the case here. I do not think that this is the case here where they seem competitive. I think they are absolutely competitive. This team could beat Messi in the playoffs. This team could take it all the way and win and beat against LAFC. Beat LAFC. The Heung-min Sons. This team has that ability. I saw this on display last season at the end of it, and I saw this on display tonight, especially in that first half. We just need to get more clinical. We need a little more. It's going to happen. In this seat, this is a top half of the football team. This is the top half of the Eastern Conference football team. Chicago Fire, top half of the football, top half of the MLS, easily. This is not a ninth place team. I said earlier that this could be a 3rd to 9th place team. Still got them right now. You kind of got them pegged in that 5th place. You can't blame me, right? You can't blame me if you got them pegged in that 5th place. Showed a lot. Weren't there when they absolutely got a little lazy. Had they not gotten lazy, they get the win. Had they gotten a few more calls from the referee, they get the win. Am I giving them an out with that? I think it's not me giving them out. It's the truth. It's the truth. The referee had an effect on the game tonight, and to me, that was one of the unfortunate parts. Did not like what I saw from a referee, but hey, just like the Fire are getting into form, just like the Houston Dynamo are getting into form, they're figuring things out. It's their first game. It was the referee's first game. But man, oh man, that was one-sided. Referee, please watch that again. Please. Not trying to be overly critical, but please get better there. I understand you give the home team. I understand you're going to give the home team a percentage more than the away teams of the calls, but that was the difference tonight, where it's got to be closer to that. Like, you give the home team a couple more calls, but you got to give the away team their calls. And I did not like what I saw from that. Nando, chat, DPG, thanks for joining us here on Enemies of the Fire tonight. Make sure you guys rip and kick punt that like button. Leave us a comment. Greatly appreciate if you do, because I would love to hear what your assessment of the game was. All of us here at Spinning Fire read the comments. We'd love to see what you read. That's 4 people plus already reading your comment. Love to see it. Love to hear your assessment of the game, how you felt it went, how you felt things went down, what you thought the problems were, what you thought went well, whatever you have time for. Don't worry about it. We'd love to read your comments. We know you're a Fire fan because you're here and you're commenting. It's evident you give a damn. You give a damn about this team. Love to see it. All of us here do at Enemies of the Fire. Podcast possibly coming up Sunday night or Wednesday night for the next one. Make sure you guys subscribe. Help us hit our goal of 500 subscribers and defeat the algorithms at YouTube. Greatly appreciate you sharing this with Fire friends. That means your friends that, hey, take a look. This is what's going on at the Fire. They're one of the better teams in MLS. Might want to start caring about them this season. I think they're going to be good. Still do. I think DPG does too, from what I heard. Nando, quite hopeful. Chat, everybody watching this live or after the fact, greatly appreciate you. We'll catch you guys next time on Enemies of Fire. And go Fire in the next game. Absolutely go Fire in the next game. Yeah, let's just go back and check out the next game. It's going to be at home. It's going to be against Montreal. Look at that. 62% win percentage predicted for the Chicago Fire at Soldier Field. Not long for Soldier Field or Chicago Fire, are they? Nor are the Bears, apparently. Possibly going up to Arlington Heights. Probably going to Arlington Heights at the end of things. But possibly going to Indiana. That's an interesting development as well. And I wonder what happens to Soldier Field in all of it. Love to read your comments about that. Either the Bears or predictions for Soldier Field. Predictions for what the Bears are going to do. Predictions for Chicago Fire in their new stadium. Toke often says, too small. 22,000. Not enough fans. Not enough space for the Chicago Fire team. Should be 30K plus, says Toke, for Chicago Fire in their new stadium. I'm hoping it's domed. It's not supposed to be. It should be. It should be in some capacity. You got to deal with the weather. And if you could protect from those elements, I guarantee you'll get more seat people in the seats. Make a world-class facility in that case. Go to fucking Minnesota. Go to Minnesota. Go to where the Minnesota Vikings play and tell me it's not beautiful and gorgeous. And that would not fly in the city of Chicago. Guarantee you it would. Guarantee you. Do it, Joe. Make the change if you can. Now, don't back out now. You have to make that change absolutely right now if you're going to do it. Don't pussyfoot. Go to Minnesota Vikings Stadium. Take a look what they got there. Go to the Minnesota Twins Stadium. Take a look what they got there. Beautiful. The Minnesota should have the most beautiful stuff but at the same time, Chicago should have the best in the world, Joe. And I think that Joe is committed to doing that. Really excited to see the stadium for Chicago Fire. 22,000, by the way, is more than the United Center, which regularly sells out the Bulls and the Blackhawks. So I do think that's a bit much from Toke to ask a little bit. 22,000. Let us know in the comments if you think 22,000 is not enough. If you think it should be more, should be less. I mean, meanwhile, Seattle, Lumen Field, 67,000 for MLS for some MLS games. That is crazy, and the Chicago Fire are currently in Soldier Field. They're in Soldier Field. Why not take over Soldier Field? Why build the new stadium? Why not take over Soldier Field and become the Chicago Fire Stadium? I think that, Joe, that is, damn, I'm not offering financial advice, Joe, but that might be better overall. Sucks you can't have a dome. Okay, that impacts things. You can't make money from your own concerts. That also is a factor. Nope, do what you're doing, Joe. Nope, do what you're doing. Make something world class. Make something that can have winter concerts. Make something that has that glass dome where you're looking around at the rest of the city and you can see the beautiful skyline. Miguel saying, hi, 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 hi. Let's go, Miguel! Miguel Portillo. Oh, man, that sounds so good. How sick would it be if the Fire had Portillo somewhere on their chest, somewhere on their jersey, somewhere in their sponsorship? They had Portillos right by the old stadium. Right by the old stadium. Be awesome to see. Appreciate it, Miguel. Thank you for stopping by. Enemies of the Fire here. Keep it up. Absolutely. We will do. Fast forward. We got a lot of great talk with DPG and chat. Just talking about the game as I'm closing up shop here. And as usual, I'm acting like Rudy from Alpha Investments. If any of you collect Pokemon cards, you might know what I'm talking about. I don't collect Pokemon cards, but I know what you're talking about. That's so funny. But soccer cards been crazy. So soccer cards, I got to say before I hang up, not doing. It's the World Cup year for USA. Soccer quiet cards a little quiet. Even Lamine Yamal, some of his cards down. It's been interesting to see because one of the biggest sports in the world. You got soccer, you got football, you got baseball, you got basketball cards going crazy. Pokemon cards, of course, right? Magic the Gathering, One Piece, you name it. There's some crazy cards out there. It's been fun. And soccer cards been a little quiet this season, especially pre-World Cup. It's been noticeable. You see it. Christian Pulisic cards. Would you not think? Yeah, there's been some raise for Christian Pulisic cards as the World Cup approaches in World Cup, but Lamine Yamal, a little bit down. Christian Pulisic cards, certain cards, little down. Not sure what you grab. Not financial advice. But fun to collect, right? And so there's also Fire cards. There's MLS cards out there. It's interesting. Like, and for me, I guess I got a few cards here. I got a nice little Josh Allen. Nothing special, but pretty cool. Nice little Josh Allen. Got a couple Lamine Yamals. Nothing really great with that Lamine Yamal. Got it. They're like Leaf cards. They have sick autos in the Leaf, but you really want the tops chrome or for baseball. You really want tops for basketball, tops for football in April. And with football, Panini. You want football. For soccer, you want Panini. And I got a couple of Panini soccer cards. Yeah, they're fun. Actually got really lucky with my Panini pulls. I grabbed a hobby box at a random store one day and pulled out something gnarly that maybe I'll flip during the World Cup. Maybe I keep forever. It's a good one. It's an of 10. So it's really cool, but nothing special. It's not a Leo Messi or anything. Nothing spectacular as far as value. Nothing that's going to set me for life if I sell it. Nothing close to that. But still fun nonetheless. Fun nonetheless. And if somebody who appreciates it more, wants it more than me, then, right, let it happen. But I do at the moment quite appreciate it. Don't know if you guys are too much into collecting cards, at least, or soccer cards. I think I would love some Atletico Madrid cards. A couple of the French players on that team would be fun. Wonder, that'd be cool if they ever came to Chicago Fire. If Robert Lewandowski doesn't work out, that'd be crazy. Robert Lewandowski, if he doesn't come to the Chicago Fire, it'd be sad because this team. But where would he play in this team? Because you honestly, you're not sitting Kuipers, 0%. There's no world where you're sitting Kuipers. There's little world where you're sitting a lot of these players. The Fire have a lot of good starters, and so where would Kuipers fit? You'd have to change things. You look at this lineup. I mean, you're playing one striker in the setup, right? You got Hugo Kuipers at the top. You're playing a 1-4-5. So, not sure what you do there. I mean, as far as how you fit in Robert Lewandowski, does somebody else come into this team and fit it better than Robert Lewandowski? What position? Zinkernagel, set. Soletros, set. Davila, set. Lode, set. Selassie is a backup to Gutman, set. Mabakazi, set. Waterman, back up to Elliott, set. Rogers, back up to Waterman, set. Barroso could grow into something, guys. I mean, like, yes, his footing was off tonight. Yes, his touch was off tonight, but Barroso could absolutely grow into something. Can't discount that. This team's got talent. This team's got ability. This team's got a great coach. This team can win it all. They can, but they need to work on a lot. Get there. They do. They need to work on a number of things to get to that point where they are MLS Cup champions. In the chat, would love to read. Love to know what you guys think, what they need to work on. To me, tonight, the offense, like there was some dead ball going on, and it was just, you didn't see it. You didn't see it. You saw the defense doing their thing with missing some people. Brady standing on his head. And offense, quiet. Zinkernagel doing his thing. Sletcher's doing his thing. And you know what that tells to me? Matter of time. Matter of time. That's all it is. Matter of time, and it'll happen. All right, guys. Thanks for joining us here on Enemies Fire. I had the longest outro. But I love chatting with you guys. I love talking the fire, and it's a lot of fun. So appreciate you guys who all love the fire. We'll see you guys next time here on Enemies of Fire. Possibly Sunday, possibly Wednesday. You'll know soon. If you hit that subscribe button, YouTube will alert you, and we'll catch you guys next time. Greatly appreciate you guys. See you guys next time. Thanks for joining us here. See you later. And have a great night.